Put on headphones and sit in a quiet place. Let's start our story.
In a quaint and peaceful neighborhood nestled away from the hustle and bustle of the city, there lived a family named the Andersons. The Andersons were a picture-perfect family. John, a hard-working architect, his wife Lisa, a loving and caring mother, and their two children, Emily and Daniel, who were the embodiment of innocence. Life in their cozy suburban house was idyllic. That is, until the day the new neighbors moved in next door. The Johnsons, as they called themselves, were a mysterious couple. They rarely ventured outside during the day and always kept to themselves. Their house, a towering Victorian mansion, was an ominous presence that cast a perpetual shadow over the Andersons' home. Rumors swirled through the neighborhood about the Johnsons' peculiar behavior and their nocturnal activities. One warm summer evening, as John was working late in his home office, he heard an odd noise coming from next door. It sounded like hushed voices and faint whispers. Curiosity got the better of him, and he peeked out of his office window, which provided a clear view of the Johnsons' house. Through the veil of darkness, John watched in shock as the Johnsons, dressed in long hooded robes, gathered in their backyard around a large flickering fire. Their chanting grew louder and the flames danced wildly. He couldn't make out the words they were saying, but the ritualistic atmosphere sent shivers down his spine. Determined to uncover the truth, John began researching the history of the Johnsons' house. What he found was disturbing. Decades ago, the house had been the site of a series of gruesome murders. The victims' bodies had never been found, and the case had gone cold. The Johnsons had purchased the house under an alias, and it was clear that they were hiding something sinister. John confided in Lisa, who, initially skeptical, agreed to help him investigate further. Together, they discreetly collected information, interviewed previous neighbors, and even hired a private investigator to dig into the Johnsons' background. The more they discovered, the more they feared for their family's safety. One moonless night, as John and Lisa were peering through their bedroom window, they saw the Johnsons leaving their home in haste, carrying what appeared to be a large, heavy sack. The couple followed them at a safe distance, leading to an eerie and abandoned cemetery on the outskirts of town. Hidden among the tombstones, John and Lisa watched as the Johnsons began digging a fresh grave. Their sinister intent was unmistakable. It was at that moment they realized they were in grave danger. They quietly retreated and called the police, providing them with all the evidence they had gathered. The police arrived just in time to catch the Johnsons in the act. What they found in the grave was horrifying. The remains of their previous neighbors who had mysteriously disappeared over the years. As the truth came to light, the Johnsons were arrested and their dark secrets exposed. The Andersons, while relieved, couldn't help but feel the lingering fear of the evil that had lived next door for so long. The suburban paradise they once knew had forever been tainted by the horrors they had uncovered. And so, the Andersons and their neighborhood would never be the same again, haunted by the sinister secrets of their former neighbors. A chilling reminder that evil can lurk in the most unexpected places. The Whispering Walls. In the quiet suburban town of Willowbrook, nestled at the edge of a dense forest, there stood a peculiar house. It was an aging Victorian mansion, its paint peeling, and its windows adorned with thick, dusty curtains. This mansion was home to the enigmatic Driscoll family, who had resided there for generations. The townsfolk whispered stories about the Driscolls, tales of strange happenings and eerie occurrences that seemed to emanate from their ancestral home. Mark and Sarah Reynolds, a young couple, had recently moved to Willowbrook with their 2 children, Lily and Ethan. They were drawn to the town's tranquility, unaware of the legends surrounding the Driscoll house. Their new neighbors welcomed them warmly, offering casseroles and greetings, but they carefully avoided discussing the mansion next door. One crisp autumn evening, as a gentle breeze rustled the leaves, Mark and Sarah heard their children talking in hushed tones. Lily and Ethan claimed they heard voices coming from the Driscoll house, calling out to them, urging them to come closer. Mark and Sarah dismissed it as their children's overactive imaginations, attributing it to the spooky tales they might have heard from other kids at school. As the weeks passed, the voices became more frequent and distinct. Mark, unable to ignore the unnerving phenomenon, decided to investigate. He approached the mansion cautiously, peering through a gap in the worn fencing. To his astonishment, the mansion's windows seemed to glow with an eerie, greenish light, and the voices grew louder, whispering his name. Haunted by curiosity and a growing sense of dread, Mark shared his discovery with Sarah. Together they ventured to the town library, where they uncovered the chilling history of the Driscoll family. It was said that generations ago, the Driscolls had practiced dark rituals and communicated with otherworldly entities. The mansion was believed to be a portal to another realm, and the voices that emanated from it were the souls of those who had become trapped within, desperate to protect their children and end the torment. Mark and Sarah sought the help of a local historian, Mr. Jenkins. He revealed that there was a hidden entrance to the mansion's underground catacombs, accessible from the nearby forest. Armed with knowledge and determination, they embarked on a perilous journey to confront the malevolent forces that had plagued their family. The forest was dense, and the air grew thick with an otherworldly chill as they approached the hidden entrance. Inside the catacombs, they discovered a labyrinth of eerie corridors lined with whispering spectral figures. These tormented souls begged for release, their voices echoing through the cold, damp tunnels. Mark and Sarah pressed on, eventually reaching a chamber at the heart of the catacombs. There, they encountered an ancient, ornate mare with a sinister aura. The mare seemed to be the source of the voices, and it radiated a palpable malevolence. The couple realized that they needed to shatter the mirror to free the trapped souls. With a heavy heart and trembling hands, Mark swung a sledgehammer at the mirror. A deafening, otherworldly scream filled the chamber as the mirror shattered into 1,000 pieces. The spectral figures faded away, their voices silenced at last. As the catacombs fell into silence, Mark and Sarah emerged from the mansion, exhausted but victorious. The voices that had haunted them for so long were gone, and the mansion next door stood silent, no longer an ominous presence in their lives. The townsfolk, aware of the Reynolds' brave actions, slowly began to open up about their own experiences with the mansion. It seemed that the curse had finally been lifted, and the Driscoll house was left abandoned, a quiet reminder of the horrors that had once dwelled within.
The Watchful Eyes. In the heart of a bustling city, nestled among towering apartment buildings, there was a peculiar brownstone house. Its windows were perpetually shrouded in darkness, and its facade seemed to wither away with every passing year. This house was home to Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell, an elderly couple who kept to themselves, rarely seen outside their home. The urban neighborhood had always been a close-knit community, where neighbors knew each other's names and shared stories over garden fences. However, the Mitchell house had always been an exception. Whispers and speculations swirled about the couple's reclusive nature, but their neighbors never dared to intrude. That was until the Smith family moved in next door. Sarah Smith, a freelance writer, and her husband Michael, a software engineer, along with their 2 children, Emma and Noah, were the newcomers. They were excited about their new life in the city, but couldn't ignore the eerie feeling that settled upon them whenever they glanced at the Mitchell house. One evening, as Sarah was working in her home office, she noticed something odd outside her window. A pair of eyes, cold and unblinking, were staring at her through the darkness. The eyes were accompanied by a faint, unnerving whisper that seemed to beckon her. Terrified, Sarah rushed to the window but found nothing there. Disturbed by this bizarre encounter, Sarah confided in Michael. They decided to investigate the Mitchell house, their curiosity outweighing their fear. They began by researching the Mitchell's history, only to discover that the elderly couple had been living in the brownstone for over 5 decades. Except that they had inherited the house from Mr. Mitchell's parents. The next evening, Michael set up surveillance cameras outside their home. As the night fell, the cameras captured the same pair of eyes, lurking in the shadows. The eerie whisper returned, this time unpronounced. It was an unsettling, clear voice that sent shivers down their spines. Sarah and Michael, determined to uncover the truth, visited a local historian who revealed a chilling legend surrounding the Mitchell house. Decades ago, the house had been owned by a secretive cult that practiced dark rituals. The cult had vanished mysteriously, with a recitation of a protective incantation, the entity recoiled, letting out a blood-curdling scream before vanishing into the darkness. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, and the Mitchells' home felt free of the malevolent presence that had tormented them for so long. The Smiths emerged victorious, having banished the dark entity that had haunted the Mitchell house for decades. The brownstone next door, no longer shrouded in darkness, seemed to breathe a sigh of relief. The neighborhood, once united in fear, now basked in the newfound peace brought about by